Hello, testing. 1, 1, 2.
So, are you planning on registering to be a speaker at Meetup next year?
I don't know.
I think you should.
Let's see.
Why not?
Maybe.
Maybe? Yeah, definitely. You need more cables.
Sorry?
I think you need more cables.
I think we've got enough. Yeah. Yeah.
So, using AngularJS or something like that for the graphics, or just static? Oh, static dynamic.
Sorry?
The actual website.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nah, it's just
side.
everything is rendered server side. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. The idea was to get it as simple as possible to get. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think we'll kick it off just in terms of time because it's going to be a bit long. I'd like to get through most of it. There might be a few people who will be joining us remotely as and when they can. But I think we're good to sort of kick it off. So welcome and thank you for coming. So we're basically going to learn how to build a .NET Core website using Umbraco headless. Disclaimer, until 2 weeks ago, I had not tried this out. So there might be things which are not, there are certain things definitely which I don't like, but we'll go through it and see it's a good starting point for everybody to sort of go on with. Um, so this is me again, twice. Been working with Umbraco since 2008 or 9 and been with Luminary now for the last 3 years. And yeah, just getting on stuff with Umbraco and it's been fun working with it. Of course, I work for Luminary where you guys are. We have 45 plus staff in 5 offices with people in Bali, and we get a chance to work in Bali as well. We've been in operation for 19 years. Lots of awards. You can see our awards shelf there. It's coming down. And we've got some cool clients like Baker's Delight and Oliver Human, Fred Hollows, Crown. We work with Umbraco, Siteco, Episerver, Kentico. So you might hear a few references of that while we move on. So this is not my first headless site. Definitely my first Umbraco headless site, but I work with the Kentico's version of headless as well. So I hope everybody got the prerequisites done and are ready to go with that. And then we will just go through these things. And like I said, it is a bit time consuming. So we'll try to make sure that we're covering much ground as we can, as soon as we can. So everybody's got a login for Umbraco Headless? Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah. And either you've got Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code and a Git client. So, yeah. And hopefully it's okay to switch branches, etc. Either forked or clone this repo, which we will be starting off with. So everybody's good? So if you can either run it using VS Code or Visual Studio, and you should ideally be seeing this screen. So everybody's got this screen on their all good? So we're going to create a lot of document types. So we're going to do it quickly, and I know it's a pain, but I guess that's the easiest way to go, so that you can, even once you go back, you have a chance to create this. So you see, I've sort of put them in the order of the least dependent, and we'll just quickly go. it if I know lots of these things are pretty small, you can't see it. So if you can go to bit.ly, should I put that link here? Yeah, thinking about it.
In text code or something, VS code.
Uh, bit.ly slash umbraco slash headless dash headless. Yep, everybody's got that. And if you go there and if you click on the first, I got a faithful slot. So if you go into the code snippets, okay, I think I'll show that. So you should, with the bit.ly URL, you should reach here. Have everybody got that? No? Yeah, then go on to the code snippets. And you see this. And I might do it along with you guys. Quickly creating these. Uh, so you can, if you're logged into your back office, so the first one we'll create is we just create this uh, data type. Developer data types, new data type, uh, and call it grid content editor. And the type is grid layout. You can save it and just keep all the defaults. That's good enough for now. You're not going to do much with that. Once you saved it, you should have that. Step one done. Then you go in and we need to create in settings document types. We'll create these document types and I will switch back to. So the first one to create is design. So create a tab with phrase attributes. I know some of you guys are brand new to Umbraco, so document types, create document type, and sorry, yeah, without template. You got an option for creating with template? How come I didn't get it? Ah, sorry, I didn't look at this. Okay, okay. If you have got headless, you shouldn't. You might be on a normal Umbraco instance. So Umbraco cloud instance. That could be correct because he created it. What time did you create it? Today, right? Do you see this one? Yeah. So go to umbraco.com/headless and so so in settings, we'll create the design document type first. So you create a phrase attributes. Everybody can see this, right? Make it larger. A phrase attributes tab. And then there's also a reference number. Sorry. There's also a reference number field. I don't think which I've added. I don't have. Anybody struggling with it, or everybody's good with creating the document type? So design first. You good? That's good. You good? You can reuse. So usually, yeah. So when you're selecting editors, you can just reuse them. For anybody who's new to, yeah, because otherwise it creates brand new instances. Yeah. Sign up with a different email address if not working. Yeah. If you have trouble creating an instance, just sign up with a new email address. Don't say anybody told it.
Can't log in, if you can't remember what it is, just go to umbraco.io and try logging in there. That's logged in, but I don't know. If you create a headless, you need to go through the sign up link on the head/headless website.
Yeah.
Portal page. Umbraco.com/headless and type in your email address.
Yeah. Or you might need to put in a new email address if it still doesn't work. Those who finish creating the first page type can have pizza.
And if you don't, you can't have it. What are you trying to say?
Can have later. No, no, no. So click it. No, no. Click on the wrong side of it. I was hoping to get a package to import it, but I realized you can't import it. Yeah, so otherwise I would have loved to do this beforehand and I've done it already, so I've given it to everybody to just no. So good. I put it there because I didn't want to copy it. Paste, type it out again. Might have watched that from home. I think. Might have watched that from home.
Once you do that, I'm all right. We'll send you the video. We can stream it to YouTube.
You're done? Done?
That far done.
Wow.
So I don't know. There's more to do.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I just want everybody to like do as much as they can on those because so the race is on. Some people have done up to contact type, contact document type. All of them. If you want to go follow it, I'll go home and play with it a bit more. First one. Some people are cheating though. Yeah. If you go into bit.ly/Umbraco headless, you have everything sort of typed out. bit.ly/Umbraco-headless. Yeah, first one, first one. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So go up. You can copy from there. So those are the document types. Those are the. I like this job. Yeah, I'm eating while we were working.
I was the text screen. I just did a.
So while you work on the document types, just to give you a bit of context around what you're building. So you've got your design basically here. This is what you're doing right now. That was the first one. And if you've done that, then you go in for a design collection, which is the collections here and the shop. And you have your generic content pages and your contact us pages and a blog index and of course the home page. Yeah. On top there's a thing for yeah. Just create a system folder. Just another document type call system folder. Oh, document type call system folder. Okay, that's confusing. Now there.
I was thinking, how do I set system folder?
Let me actually edit that. It's a bit much, but when you finish it, at least you can go home and try everything out on your own. So have the code for it. Yep. Who's step 2 already? That's fine. So just step 1. You just need to finish step 1. Hey. Yeah, you can get more pizza. You get more pizza. Actually, the next one we'll start with that. As soon as I finish this, step 2 onwards is all.
I knew it would be tough. What has he?
Last bit is interesting as well. The very last bit is interesting. The very last bit is also interesting because there are a few things which we can't do.
We can't do.
Yeah, like gotchas, like. Yeah. No. Yes, it's another document type. Yeah. I updated it. Now, so system folder, if anybody has questions, it's actually a document type. I have not spaced it properly. And I fixed that. So if you refresh your file, it will come through. Refresh your browser, it will come through. This is the most tedious part of it. After that, it will be fun. I promise.
Is there a way to export all of the things in Umbraco?
In normal Umbraco, there is. We could have exported all of these as packages, and I could have distributed it. But I was thinking about doing that, but finally was not able because on headless you don't have. So that's a question. I think they will have some sort of API or whatever to migrate data at some point because that's what all other headless CMSs are doing. And so
It's basically Umbraco. It's the same as Umbraco in Umbraco, but it's all the presentation. Yeah, no, it's all presentation. So basically,
you guys are good.
Is there a way
I don't know how to make this. So I'm just going back to make that.
you might be able to get it at any.
So yeah, developer, data types. Yep. New data type. Yeah, generic content grid. Name it that. Yeah. No. You have gone back to that one. So discard changes here. Okay, go back again to developer. So you had actually not gone out of the screen at all.
Eventually, but that's not until version 9.
So you have created it already twice.
No, I created the generic content page down here.
Mm-hmm.
So version 9,
I created that, then I haven't created that yet. So I want to create that.
I think you created it with a different name though. Go back. Okay. Body content, grid layout. That's fine.
No, I didn't.
You can use that.
I didn't create it.
You must have. No, while creating the page also you can create these.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did, when
Yeah.
I first created that page,
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
so when I created this, up here, you didn't say that. I was creating the generic content page.
Exactly. So automatically it got created. Yeah. That would have created it. give it 2 more minutes and then we'll go on to the next step. Hopefully everybody's done though. There's beer and drinks in the fridge if you guys want. Help yourselves. No, other than copying and pasting. If you really are running short on time and because we want to go to the next step, just jump to the home page and it wouldn't like you would miss certain steps, but hopefully we should be you basically have the instructions how to do it. So you'll need to come back and do a bit more stuff. But if everybody can just make sure they have the home page, because that's one which we will be working on. Others we will be working on, but I think we might be able to cheat a bit. Yeah, you just need to refresh it. Okay, everybody's got their home document type created. Yeah, skip the others if you are not able to get it, but I'm just aware of time. And yeah, it is a lot. So just running through you can continue doing it, but I'm just going to run through the document type created. We created a design, design collection, a shop, a blog index, which has nothing in it, and a contact again, which has no properties or anything in it. A generic content grid, which is a data type, and we added that into a generic content document type. And generic content document types allow for generic content children below it. And then we did something called a unique selling point. Again, no child items for that. And then we did a document type called system folder. And the last one, hopefully you guys have got to, is the home document type. So the main interesting stuff here is the carousel images and the unique selling points, because carousel images are media items and the unique selling points are again content items themselves, or content nodes, and we want to see how we work them in the client side. And yeah, so we allow the home as the root, and then almost all the child types, most of them are allowed below it. And home type done. Okay. Sang, you're good? Okay, so next step. I find my screen. Is to create some content. So don't worry too much about the content. If you want to copy, just copy from. You can go to uh, the bit.ly URL which I gave, and you can just copy it from this the live website actually, right? And just create a bit. If you want images, there are two zip files which you can download and use. Again, in that same document. Create at least around 4 or 5 pages, and that should be good enough. Just one design at least, and one generic content page, and maybe a contact us page. Done? Content, yeah. Home and a few pages, whatever you can. You can check it. There's it's on YouTube as well, so you can watch it if you want. Yeah, it's cool. See ya. Yeah. No, it's just below home.
Items underneath it.
Ooh, okay, sorry, my bad then. We'll need to edit that to be not required until, yeah. Sorry. Because I started and I was going through it, and while I was, yeah. I think it's saved, yeah.
I don't know, maybe it came up right now. I put my hand up. I don't know what's going on.
Right, it doesn't. So there's it should still be able to say that there's something.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can just try to save it as well. Yeah, rather than publishing it.
You don't have to change it, it's not mandatory. You don't. I'm telling you now, you don't have to.
Just do save. Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to set anything that's not mandatory to be able to create it.
Cannot be mad. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. No. So right, that's fine. It's still saved it.
Hasn't published it. Still there.
Still there, okay.
Yeah.
Great and unhappy, but it's still there. You can still go back and save it.
No, so go. Yeah, you can go back in. No. So you can go back into content.
I think I'm going to remove the magic.
No, leave the mandatory there. Just go back into content, create the other notes.
And then come back. Yeah. Yeah. So now, yeah, below that you can create anything. Yep. Yeah. So you can't do it now. So just go here.
Right click on it.
Right click. Yep. Yeah. Now you can create the system folder if you want first, or any other page, and just yeah. Yep. So if you just look for a second on the screen, so you've got home, which is the root at the root itself, and below that we have t-shirt designs, which is your shop document type, and below that you've got a design collection, and within that you've got designs. Just one of that will do for now, and help and support is generic content type, and it has got a few pages below it. Blog is of course the blog index, which is doing nothing. The contact us is again the contact document type. System is a system folder, and you've got another system folder below that, which is unique selling points, and within that you've got some unique selling points as well. That's what I was thinking. But again, without doing it, you don't really get the feeling of it. But we will trick it a bit when we're doing it. But I still like people to go home and be able to use their code and do stuff with it. Okay, so if I created some content good, let me try that.
So if you actually bring up window and just put it
Yeah.
left hand side.
Let me log in. And because I increase the size, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to copy that and put that in the same document so that everybody can see it. Sort of you have a local copy of it. Give me a second. On if anybody wants, just refresh that Google document which has this in. On the second page, you can see the content tree again. And I'm going to continue so that we get time to go home. And don't worry, you will still be able to follow along in hopefully without any hiccups. Next one, just jump into the users tab and create. So this is sort of best practice. You don't have to. You can use your own username and password which you use. But I would suggest just creating a headless consumer and assigning them to the writers group. So I'll just show you how to do it. And sorry, you have to. So you can do create user. And just go headless consumer, any address you want to give it, and yeah, you add them to the writers group because they don't need more than that, and you can create user. And at the next screen, you can copy their password. You can copy their password, or if you want, you can reset their password as well. Yep. Yeah. So basically, to consume the API, yeah, not that you need it. You can use your own username and your user email address and your this thing. But as a best practice, we usually don't. So you would use a different user. Yeah, we are using user secrets. We'll be adding the password in user secrets. I'll come to that. Good. Everybody got the user created? Everybody's good? You can change the password if you want, or you. You're good? Created the user? Good? Just one user, just one user. Just as so this is the user we're going to use as a consumer for our to consume the headless API. They're basically the REST services to call that. Okay. If you've done that, next step is we're going to do the interesting stuff. Get all the boring setup stuff done. And if you're not, don't worry. We have a small way to get around that. But so we need some NuGet packages, and we'll go through the client. So if anybody is lagging behind, just let's try to help each other, or we can stop for a little while and try so that everybody can listen. So everybody's got the solution, right? In that solution, you just need to make sure that we are pointing to the myget.org Umbraco NuGet feed. And if you want this code is again available in the tutorial steps markdown file, right? Just copy it and paste it into the NuGet.config at the root of your solution. You should have NuGet.config, which comes default. Well, it doesn't come default actually. I set it up, but yeah, you just need to replace this with the package source which was there, right? So that it allows us to get stuff from the Umbraco's NuGet feed. Sorry? Sorry. Where did you? No. So you've got the solution?
I got a solution here.
Yeah.
You want me to replace that? I understand that.
Yep.
You have the solution open there? Yeah. But no, it's the code, not the website.
Yeah. So if you open it up, yeah, you would only see the file in folder explorer. You wouldn't see it in the. So NuGet. Yeah, you need to close and open the project for that NuGet.config to come into effect. Otherwise, it doesn't. So Visual Studio needs to be. NuGet.config. Yep. It's in the root where the solution file is. Everybody got it? Everybody replaced it? Yeah. Just close and open the solution. If Visual Studio is open, that file doesn't. The effect doesn't come into play, right? So it doesn't find that it's using that NuGet feed. There's another way of adding this NuGet feed through the Visual Studio as well, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, but this is also that it gets checked in, because what you edit through Visual Studio options doesn't get checked in always. So other people who are using the solution wouldn't have it. Cool. So if you've got that, right click on your project T-phrase and manage NuGet packages. Go back to my slides to see what I need to do. So we need to add Umbraco headless client, Umbraco CMS.headless.client and Umbraco headless.client.web. Now make sure that we use the version from July 2017. Sorry, July 2018. What am I saying? The 26th of July 2018, use that version. If you use a version newer than that, we are going to run into some trouble. Yeah, just search for Umbraco CMS. Yeah, include pre-release, sorry. The version from, why isn't it? Yeah, last version in July. Sorry, I'm looking for install, sorry. So here you'd find Umbraco CMS headless client and client web, but you need to, not the latest pre-release, install the last version from July. 7.26.2, yep. Yep. Yeah, 26th of July. If you install the one from the latest version, I did it yesterday and everything stopped working because they have started using refit, and so we don't have the extensions to edit as to get the MVC routes and stuff like that. So I didn't have time yesterday to figure that out.
Basically allows you to
Is it like REST sharp itself? Or? Okay, but more intuitive, right? Like you can put your models and you can call it and stuff. I just read about it a bit. Yeah. They're changing everything. Yes. So you're learning something, but yeah. So by 2 days. And I'm sure they'll come back with some. Yeah. So you're on the cutting edge. So you should have these two installed, right? And everybody's got that? Anybody stuck anywhere? Jess, you're good? Yeah. Okay, cool. Once that is done, go to the next slide. Also, you can run .NET commands to install these and stuff like that. So that's optional. We will be sharing this slide deck, and it's in the instructions as well of Umbraco headless. Now, the next interesting part is about putting this Umbraco headless configuration into your app settings JSON file. Again, you can find that in the tutorial MD. So copy that and start replacing it with your own values. So in app setting.json, oops, don't copy everything actually. Just only the Umbraco headless section and put that in there. And so my values are my one says Emmanuel's faithful sloth s1.umbraco.io. you don't need the slash. It just need to stop from umbraco.io. And my user for this one, I've created one called headless guest. I'm using, oopsies. I'm using that. And the password, I would keep this one blank here, actually. And then, again, this is best practice. You can just put it in there for now because it's your own thing, but you wouldn't commit that code. But you can go in here on your project and you can say manage user secrets. And you can just add this whole snippet in there and put your password. And I'm going to put my super secret, highly confidential password in there. Yep. So if you've got that sorted, the next step is we've added that into app settings. We have added this into our user secrets, which is your password. And now is a fun part, step 5, where we're going to actually start using the stuff from our headless CMS, right? So you need to edit the startup.cs, add these things in. Again, these code snippets are there in the tutorial file. Using Umbraco headless client, take the startup.cs, put in your using statement, and in the configure services, just add this. You can add it at line 35, that's fine. And that's, everybody got up to that? Some people have done that in eating also. And then in your home controller, again, let's add a reference to that namespace and just inject, we are using dependency injection here to inject the headless service into this. Home controller, so controllers, home controller. I'm putting my using there. And there's a bit of stuff there, you can copy that. Yeah. So we've added a reference to the headless service. We have we've got dependency injection to inject that in, and in the next slide we are creating a new control action called headless, right? And we're going to get all the content we have in our content in our CMS, in our headless CMS into that. You need to create a view called headless.cs HTML in the home folder in views, and again copy all the code from that tutorial.md file. Home, add new item. Don't like that. Yep. Everybody got that? Copy paste. So to understand that code a bit, I'm not going to go line by line though. So basically, we are in the home controller in the headless action. What we do is we query and get everything, and what it returns is basically a page results of content item, and that basically is a enumerable list, and this enumerable list can be then looped through. So we are going through all the models, all the items in the model, and we're taking the item name, and then we're going through all the properties in that item, right? So ideally now, if I run this, it should work, I think. I could give error. I could not. Yeah, so we created a consumer account for it. Yes, that's the email address. That's the email address which we should be using. Okay, so we've got the first page which comes up will be, of course, be the same, but you can go to home/headless. Where you should start seeing, if you've entered some content, you should start seeing that content. So I can see carousel images. So it's my home content item, and the properties are carousel images. I can see all the carousel images which have been put there. Phrase, sum, the lead, a title, unique selling points, and so forth. Then I go into some of my the shop document type that has nothing inside it, and then you go into design collection which has a few items inside. Well, no properties for it, but then you go into one of the designs and you can see, and if you go through, you can see each and everything which is every page on my site is available here now. Did you all get that? Anybody who didn't get that? You good? Came up? Nice. Thanks. You got it? You're going ahead of class. Is it asked whether you're going ahead of the class? You're good? Came up? Wait, what happened?
It's fine.
Are you mentioning this?
Yeah. So, huh?
You get the new one. Red is listening to this. You're good? Okay, what happened to you? So that's fine. So in here, go into views. Yeah, home. Just copy that and make a copy. Yeah, oh yeah, add. Say just a new item. Just a new item. That's fine. It can be even HTML. Anything, even a text file is fine as long as you name it the same way. Yeah, so call it headless.cs HTML. And just copy that code from the tutorial. Yep. You're good, Robert? Okay, cool. So if I think everybody's got that. Thank you, good. Uh, so basically, you got this at, if you went to home/headless, you would get this, where you see all your designs and properties. Now, we have another big job to do, right? We have to create models, and these are basically uh, C# classes for all these models which we built. So I know you will want to go home if you have to create this, because there is some 9 and 7, so there's around 16 there. So we are going to just create one, right? Or we can cheat and switch to the branch on that this in to tutorial step 6. Okay. So basically what we are doing is we're creating these by hand, right? The things to look at it is that it's using the Umbraco headless client models, and it's also inheriting from content item, right? So if you switch, you can stash your changes if you want, or if it's in your own repo, you can commit them. Uh, yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think nougat.config is okay, no, in there, in step 6. I think so. Uh, Let me. Step 6. It didn't come up? What happened?
No, I'm getting an error for some reason.
Headless service. You
My mouse is getting terrible with the oil.
so startup.cs? Startup.cs?
Added one here.
No. So just not there. Outside.
Oh, sorry. It's just above that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Around 9:35. It's fine.
Why is it not cutting? I need
Ah, you're running it.
Mine's not working.
You can just yeah. That's it. That's fine. Yeah, it should work. Yeah. No. No. Uh, so home/headless. Home/headless. Woo! Cool. Okay, we got that. Yeah. Yeah. So now if we can switch to the step 6 branch, if you need, yeah, take a copy of your app settings.config. Okay. tutorial step 6. Okay, we are in step 6 and oh, when did you do it? Yeah, you might need to do a git fetch. Yeah, you must have been one of the early ones. Because some of the stuff I just started pushing it last night. Tutorial slash. Yep.
I'm not good enough at Git, I think. What on you? You clone this in GitHub?
Yeah.
Maybe the upstream origin is actually his own GitHub repository, not yours.
Ah, okay.
If you branched it, you may need to do an upstream.
Oh yeah, you're only up to step 5, and
Your config file is in the clipboard. Don't paste. Don't copy.
My mouse is because it's oil on.
okay. What I would suggest is if you can just quickly clone from the other repo, from the original repo rather than from your fork, it'll be quicker. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So just moving on to the next step. And the things to look out for once you switch to that branch is to look at the models, and especially just have a look at the home model. You can see that it's inheriting from content item. Content item is Umbraco headless. It's under Umbraco headless.clients.models, and that's where we've got the headless client which we are inheriting from for the home. And I put a small home.enhance.cs, just a small helper in there, just for us to get the phrase samples as a list. So how do we wire it up? So you just need to go, and if you have made any changes, just you would need to change your app settings.config, which right? Oh, you might get my one, right? And it should be the same yet. Yep. So then let's again go back into startup.cs, and now we are going to wire up the site so that it's dynamic in nature. Now last time we just did a static site, it was not doing any routing, nothing, right? But with this one, we're going to wire it up with headless client.web. We're going to use that, and in services we're going to add Umbraco headless web engine, and in the app we are going to use that same Umbraco headless web engine, which adds all the routes. Right, it's interesting code. If you get a chance, open it up in .peek and have a look. Decompile it and have a look. So I'm going to copy this using Umbraco headless client.web, and again in line number 37 of startup.cs, add the services.add Umbraco headless web engine, and just before the use MVC, you can either replace the use MVC or you can just add it above it. It doesn't matter because Umbraco has taken total control of your website by now when you add this line. So use Umbraco headless web engine. So that's the change in your startup.cs. Next one is we will be going and editing the home controller. So we will be adding in the Umbraco context as a dependency. We'll be injecting that in, and we'll be injecting the headless service as a this in. And everything again inherits from the default Umbraco controller. And if you're lazy, just copy the whole code from the tutorial and paste it in. Home controller.cs. And yeah, if you look at the index action there, you can see the first thing is it's using the Umbraco context to go and get the content. The false there is whether or not to throw an error. It doesn't work correctly. And the next one is to use a headless service to map to a given model. So we have our home model. It's mapping to that. If it maps only, it doesn't matter about the case. Casing is case sort of insensitive, but it maps to that. It maps the content, and then you can return your model, right? And again, just in your view for the home, the index view, just replace it with this code in the tutorial markdown file. Index.html. Boom. Yeah, I did all at once, but basically, so if you want, you can only do your unique selling points, right? And you need to add the model because we're using that model here on top. So we are using the model which was created. And then we can add for the intersection, we can add it like this. If you want, you can do bit by bit and see how it works, or take the whole thing. So you've got the model lead and the model title, and each of the items in the phrase samples list. And then we have also done the unique selling points. I think it should work. If not, Um, I think so, yes. Or not yet. Okay, so this is not wired up yet. Here you skipped some. um, and if anybody is struggling for content, you can try using this. It's inside the uh, headless tutorial in the Google Doc. It won't be there for long. And you can use that if you need content. You can copy it from it. So we've got these things now coming from the CMS, and if you put in your own content, you would see these things coming up if you mapped it correctly. Aware of time. Next one is we're just going to add these two services again. Only the services actually. The headless.client into the view imports file. So you'll find the view imports file in templates. View imports. Just add those namespaces. And then we are going to work with the carousel partial template. And there's only some of the code here, but if you look at your tutorial steps, you can find the full code there. Again, I'll go a bit through that one because there's something interesting in there. And you should see some images come up if I put any. Right. The interesting part there is actually what we did was we brought in a list of media items. So the carousel photos in from the home, we're passing in model.carousel images, which is a list of media items. And we don't need to do any more calls because that media item has everything. It's also interesting if we don't have much time to do it, but you can put startup fiddler and see all the requests going. Again, the code we have written here is not production ready at all, right? It's way too many requests. So we need to start cache, lots of other stuff to work better. And some of this stuff, I guess we'll need to talk with the Umbraco guys themselves to see what can be done just to make it better. They have done a lot of caching in here, but not for certain things. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, right? Maybe my code is totally off, but like for breadcrumbs and menus and stuff like that. And I think if you use the query method, it doesn't cache at all. But like for example, this page, sometimes if you're going to even change content, you actually need to restart the site before it's cached so much. So as much as you cache, you need to know about how can you clear the cache or what's the cache limits and stuff like that. And nothing of that is documented. I've seen even the caching by sort of looking through the code, decompiling decompiling it and just looking into it to see what they're actually doing there. So we've got a list of media items, and then we'll quickly look at how we're going to do website navigation. So we need to create a view called default inside views, create a folder called default Umbraco and index.chtml, and in there just add this 2 lines. So views, add new folder, default Umbraco. That is actually the controller sort of they are using and the paths they are using. And add a HTML file in there. I've been lazy, I'm going to copy this one, paste it there. And then add these 2 lines for that. That's it for the default Umbraco view there. And then in the header navigation, again, we're going to, at this point, we're injecting, this is not, it's debatable, but it's not the best way of doing things. Injecting the headless service into the view. So if you don't want to have logic and your things in your view, this is not a good practice. But if you don't mind, sometimes we do inject services, but it depends how much processing you want to do on your view. But we're basically injecting the headless service in here. We're getting the content item, and then we are iterating through it to do some work. And we're getting children, we're getting grandchildren. That's because that's how our navigation works, right? And yeah, so that's basically, but you can just copy it from that whole bit of code. It's quite a bit there, just with all the markup and everything, into your header navigation. Just replace the header navigation partial, and you replace it, and at the end of that, on our site, earlier the links for the right now you can see the header navigation, but it was not linking anywhere. With this step, we are actually now linking through 2 different pages. So it's just a hash sign there. That was the previous one. So now with the new code I added in, we should ideally be able to click through and this is what, because we added the default Umbraco view, it basically renders this model out. It tells what this one is, right? Like, or if you go to contact us, it will tell you, okay, contact us. This is are the details about it and the path and the created dates. So the basic information. Right, but basically our whole top navigation is now working, right? We have got the site, we've got children, we've got grandchildren, and navigation is working. Has everybody got navigation working on their local instances? We good? You good? Sorry? Okay. You good? You guys are good? Got it working? Where is it? Really? You didn't run it at all? Huh. Okay. Next step is so we got our header navigation working. So we've got navigation working. So you need navigation for a website. So we've done that. We're going to switch again. Cheating. Take a copy of your app settings.config if you want it. If not, you can copy it from the Google Doc. Use my one. You might want to stash some things. You might want to clean it. You might want to copy it in a directory and keep it. I get there. Tutorial step, what was it? Step 9. Cool. If everybody has switched to that step 9, so we're going to use MVC display templates. I don't know how many of you guys have used it, and it's something like partial MVC templates as well. But you usually will define it for a particular class or a model, right? And then dev auto power off. What is it? Where is it coming? There is a TV behind it. Why? Is it for the TV actually? Yeah, I was trying. He fixed it. He fixed it. 9. Okay. Okay. Press any button. I couldn't find any key. I was trying to find any key. So I couldn't. Okay. So going back to display templates, if you've used it, it's good. So basically, we try to strongly type it, and usually you call it like display for model or display for, and you can give a particular type. And it's pretty interesting how that works. And if you look at luminary.com, it has been built entirely on display templates, and it's pretty amazing. So we're going to check a few things while we look. Basically, we're going to look back at the code a bit quickly. So we go into the home controller and you can see a few changes in there. We have inherited from a base content item controller, and the only line in here is a render content item, and we are passing the model we want, right? And if you look at the base content item controller, again, it's a class we have written, and in there, reduce this a bit. We are again inheriting from the default Umbraco controller, and we are injecting the Umbraco context and the headless service. And for render content, we are getting the content the same way we did previously, but if it's null, we are going to show 404. Unfortunately, I'll warn you, this doesn't work now because Umbraco throws the error long before this, and we can't even catch it. I was hoping to do this, but that's one of the places where I couldn't do anything. Then it maps it to the type which has been given, like for example, home, and then it returns it, but it returns the view to the default Umbraco index view, which we created earlier. Default Umbraco, it just basically returns it there, and the only statement in there is still the same: display for model. That's it. And so that's basically. And if you wanted to show the 404, this is what I was supposed to do, but like I said, it doesn't work. And if you go and look at any of the other controllers, it's almost similar. You just have that one line. If I go to design controller, same thing. Only change is that it's returning the design model. So what else am I supposed to show? And then so the display templates have a special location which they live in. This is, so it always has to be in that particular location. It's in views, shared, display templates. And if you look at this, so you can see like design or design tile, for example, right? Cool. So we are going to now, because if you run the site right now as it is in step 10, you'd find that the shop items are not being displayed. So we are going to add those in, right? And then we are going to add in a design collection as well. So again, if you go into the tutorial.md file, you will find code for that under step 10, which you can copy and paste. So again, you can see in the shop items partial, which has been done. Shop items partial, yep. So we remove that code. We give it a model at the top itself. So we are getting the model of shop. So that's why the display template is going to work. And then we are going to get the children of this for this particular model, the design collection. So we know design collections are below the shop, and we are going to get those, right? And then we are using display 4, and we are using this design, but using the design tile view to render it out, right? If I run it now, and I can copy and paste the other code while I'm doing that. And inside display templates, display collection, I can replace all of this code with this little bit. So you should be seeing something like this now. You've got all your shop items coming up here. If anybody doesn't have content and needs to see some good content, you can copy my appsettings.config from the uh, Google Doc. And then if you go into design collections, which is this, yeah, you see these coming up as well because we replace it. Now the best part about it is that we are reusing that same display template, the design tile view, to render it in here as well as on the home page, right? And again, we reuse it if you go into one of these for sort of related products as well. We are using the same, that's there, and again we're using the same view to render this. So we've written it once, we're reusing it in 3 places already, right? Like I said, you can reuse it as much as you want. Right. Next one. If you look at the display templates and design.chtml, and if you look at the way I've done this, where I'm showing the related tiles. Actually, I'm not showing related tiles. I'm just showing the top 3, only 3 which are coming up, which is not efficient, which is not nice. What I wanted to really do was sort of get the designs next to them, or even sort of related or something like that. But maybe I need to do some tagging or something like that, and use some sort of a method like that. But right now, this is the very ugly way of just getting it. And yeah, that's not efficient. So we need, if you're doing something, you need to change it. Next part, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but one of the biggest draws for me when it comes to Umbraco is the whole grid layout. You can go and put in contents over, and you can see how it looks within the Umbraco back office itself. And which I'm trying to find to log in now. Yep. So here we are. And if you look at this, and if you look at something like the generic content, which is help and support, and let's look at the about us. And so I'm using the content grid here, and I would like to render it out. This is not very difficult in the full Umbraco CMS, and even with a blank site, it's pretty easy to do that. But with this one, I had to struggle a bit. Yeah, so basically it's like this, and then you have maybe a YouTube and whatever, and you can add more and more rows, and just headlines, articles, whatnot, and keep on adding and continuing, right? Right? But rendering this out is not as easy. So I had to actually create around 7 models for it to work. I'm not sure whether I'm missing something or whether that's the case. But if you can see, you have the Umbraco grid, and then within it you have sections. Within the sections you have rows and whatnot. So I'll just try to show generic content, and here is. So if you go into step 11 of the tutorial .md file, just copy that and paste it here. So for people who have used grid content, you know how it works. But yeah, basically we had to make it all strongly typed for it to work. And this is how it works. Maybe I'm missing something, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I got it working like this. And if you do this, and now if we look at one of those pages, and you can see that the content is rendered. The YouTube video is being rendered and all that. Cool. The one last thing which we're just going to look at, we're not going to do anything about it, but basically we're looking at the page header and how breadcrumbs are done. Again, not very pretty. Basically taking the code and running it, reversing it, and then using it as a breadcrumb. I was stumped with this for a little while. I don't think this is the most efficient way of doing it either. So maybe we need some support from within the content which is retrieved at that point itself to give us, maybe it's optional parameter saying, yeah, give me the breadcrumbs for this, or give me the parent hierarchy for this. There are some, there's a link collection called ancestors, and I was trying to figure out what it is for. It's just giving a path only. Doesn't even like return items, it's just giving a path. Maybe that's for some future use they are planning on. So it will be good, like tell at the first call it says, give me the ancestors for this model, be awesome. And yeah, so this is how it was done. Not very pretty, but that was the only way of doing it. No. No. We've done search for other headless CMSs, and it's done using webhook. So whenever an item is published, we get a notification, and we just take that content, push it into Azure Search, and then the actual search is done with Azure Search. But we've implemented it quite successfully. With this one, there's no examples anywhere. Yeah. So has everybody got up to this point though? There's a few, like, not much to do, but a few more slides to talk about things. Has everybody got here and everybody's comfortable? Yeah. Cool. So sort of next steps, and we sort of, so everybody's sort of welcome to join in and give their ideas as well. So one thing is looking at caching, like one thing is implementing caching in certain places, and the other thing is about the caching which is already there. How do we clear it? When does it get cleared? And things like that. Like I've got a site running already on an Azure, and if I need to clear the cache, I need to restart the website now, which is not pretty. And services, what sort of services do we introduce while doing this? Like some of those things, like bringing in different aspects, like I don't know, even for the navigation, or like for the footer navigation, I'm bringing in sort of design collections. Do I put a service for that? Again, I don't think they have documented any best practices around this as well. So that's interesting to learn what that is there. The other thing, if you go onto the site, and have a look at it. If you go into the help and support page, you can see that some of those links are working, and one of them are not. When it decides to load. So all of these I cheated, and I went into the HTML view of the rich text editor and edited them, right? But this one I just did it with the Umbraco selector. And you can see that it's giving you a local Umbraco. Yeah. So how do you? Yeah. Yeah, all of this is inside rich text.
It's probably already an issue.
Hmm.
See what the link is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so local link Umbraco document, yeah. So that needs to be resolved. I try to find some documentation as to how to resolve it even, it's not
You
there.
shouldn't have to. You
Yeah.
need, but if that's not already on the issue tracker, then you need.
Yep, maybe I will do that.
So have a look on the issue tracker.
Cool. And also the 404 handler, it's a big issue there. So I wanted to implement that. And let's say, um, yeah, but you would think that, you know, if it was trying to resolve it, you should be able to capture it. Now, but I don't have a client. I am not directly accessing it at all. The client is throwing an error, which I have no way of subscribing into a event or anything for that. Yeah, I couldn't find it. Maybe it's there, but I couldn't find it. I decompiled it also and tried to check. No. Or so it's even before this code. So like for example, yeah, before the controller gets it, because it's already trying to put it into the Umbraco context. So I should have something to help me. I tried writing all sorts of sort of routes here to capture it and stuff like that. I just couldn't. Ye- Yeah, and I think, yeah, these are the ones which contact us form. I couldn't write my own route even to do it because I've done contact us forms for other headless CMSs, but I couldn't do it for this just because it didn't let me write a route for it. It didn't, it just went into the same error we are seeing, right? Just because it says, okay, this is not in Umbraco.
So was that using Umbraco?
No, just sort of, I wanted to write it, use a, you know. The latest version of the client was only released on Friday. Yeah, so this is, yeah, on the second. Yeah. So if you look at contact us, finally I went with what you should be doing, you know, it's all microservices now, you should be using other microservices and things like that. So I went and used a Google form. Right? Yeah, you don't, no, not, I'm not saying use Google Forms, but you can use, you know, another service which is this in and with how with building the Luminary site here, we have learned that, yeah, you need to use different microservices to do things. Yeah. Yeah. And no, got it. And um, yeah, so it's not bad with some of the stuff they've given with the clients and stuff. It's pretty awesome, and I was excited when I saw the cache in levels and things like that. What I feel is, yes, it's new, and I wouldn't blame them for that. But documentation was like on the second when this changed, the documentation is still the old documentation telling me to do the same things. That didn't change with the speed of the code, and I didn't have any idea what to do. And I guess these things need to go back to them, right? I don't think it's production ready for something big. Yeah, yeah. So if it's a hobby site, yes, that's fine. Yeah. They are, and to tell you the truth, we started on some of the ones which pretty new ones. So if you go on to the extreme of things like contentful and What's the other one? The name skips my mind. But yeah, so sort of mature headless CMSs, you'd find that they have different clients and stuff like that. But so basically, like for example, the content author can go and do their whole content authoring. Like what I'll do is let me just finish this one. Yeah, and I'll come back to that one. And it's a good it's a good point to discuss. So contact us form was one problem. Related content, like you saw, yeah, that's how do we pull that, right? Maybe we need some best practices around it. Of course, you need a sitemap. How do you render that? We've done it before. Robots.txt is not big, but now because I don't have any other routes, I can't even put a robots.txt, right? And I can to the sitemap I can, but how do I send a person to sitemap.xml because Umbraco has already hijacked all the routes. I have no way completely.
So it doesn't pull through with 404, it just, it errors. So it errors with the 404.
Yes.
So you get an exception and you're wrong. So you can't even do static content.
Static content there is because yeah, not dynamic content. So I don't know. I don't know whether I'm missing something critical. Yeah. And the next one is yeah. So I had the biggest problem. Like I was doing this, I had done my bit, and now I started writing the tutorial style for this one. Exactly. That's a good one. Maybe for the next one. And I'm sure there's quite a bit of people who will be interested in that. You can, like the first example we did, where it's a static route, but then you'd need to define. So then the content editor doesn't have the options. Now, I can go and change any of those URLs on that page, and it'll automatically come here. You don't need a developer to say this page is here, this page is here, and things like that, right? You can put it anywhere you want. You can't touch it at all. You can create data types. It is limited, but with other things I have worked with, I find that the Umbraco back office itself is so rich. I don't see any limitations actually, and especially with the things like the Umbraco grid and stuff. If we know how to use it properly, it's going to be awesome. And yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So one of the questions. I think one of your questions was what's the advantage of using a headless CMS compared to the normal traditional CMS. What we found with working with them was that you can build, we did this a lot, you can build an ugly website. Just a developer like me who doesn't know any front end stuff can just do, I can say property name and property and, just render that out. And the content editors can go in and fill in all the content, create all the pages. before even seeing the design. And we actually did this for the Luminary site. For our own website, we did this. Like all of us got logins to the headless CMS which we use, and we were able to log in and add all our details. Like every staff member went and added their own details, and everybody did that. And we're still not even, the design was not even locked down. The information architecture as such was, but that was it. And even up to the last day, there was development and design happening just because this didn't lock us in. Yep. But again, you need to, yeah, actual implementation. Yeah. So even previously, Kentico also had a cool tool called Kentico Draft, which they eventually morphed into Kentico Cloud, which is their headless CMS. And but their editors and stuff are still maturing. Whereas with Umbraco, because the back office is so rich, it's already, and I think that will be the draw. With the Umbraco back office being so rich, it will be quite a draw for people to come and say, I'd like to use this. For people like friends of mine who have done Umbraco sites for, they love the grid, right? You can, yeah, you can, and most probably on a Raspberry Pi or even one of those IoT devices. And then there are people who have done headless CMS stuff with that. And it's, as much as we'd like to say, and I think they don't market it as a brochure website maker or a website tool itself. No, not really, because there is a Node client as well as it's finally a RESTful API. You don't it actually doesn't matter which uh, yeah, and you can use it in any way or form. You can, yeah.
Could you just turn off the group project, have the rest of it working?
You could, yeah, I could, and also, but then I would lose some of the benefits which their headless web client is giving, and I was very excited about that, and that was part of the draw of it, and I guess I'd rather pester them until they fix it, or ask them a way as to how I could use it.
Describe the things that are broken.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, these early days, and hopefully, yeah, they treat it the same way. And is there a? I was looking for Umbraco headless on our Umbraco. I couldn't find anything. Like almost nothing.
I don't know that there's much on that.
But in issues there are in the issue tracker. Mm-hmm. Mm.
But if you're not sure, just tweet something that Sharon.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work in Internet Explorer.
Yeah. And
every one of the major players have got their core libraries to be .NET Core, so that they can use CMS and host it on wherever they want to host it on. At the end of the day, what you end up is with the content API that you can use web if you want, or any other channel. So if it's a watch, it's an Alexa service, whatever it is, that's the idea behind why they're doing this, but also from an implementation side, websites, what I'm looking forward to and what we're trying to push for with some of our projects here. We're not quite there yet, but you can probably do it with our stuff. Is to notoriously always wanting to run on mats because they are, right? To be able to actually pull the same repo as you, have all their Fed in there, and build their Fed repo in the same repo as your backend repo, not have a front end and backend repo anymore. And they can run the CMS, see what's happening live with their previewing, and they get to the API and actually build out all the views themselves. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So they go back in repos to use them, but it just means you on a map and run the same thing that you're running on any other device. So we've got some pretty fungus front end and back end repos around here with some of our other projects, and we have to either submodule in list files or we have to do all sorts of other things. It's like front end too, as much as but we do like to be able to have a dabble. But all we're getting is compiled CSS and JS, and what are we going to do? So the idea of being able to have a fairly lean repository, a presentation layer for web, means and cross-platform means you can send that around. So that's what we're looking forward to. I guess the other thing, like you do when you give up on a CMS-driven presentation layer, like web parts or views that dynamically render content for you. You do to give that stuff up, and what you get in return is like control over how it's content, like we said before.
Yeah, well, I'm a SharePoint developer on this, and I can see immense benefit with content. Marketing material into intranets and other areas where you might want. I can use that myself. I can get content out and search out and those sorts of things.
Pretty good way to think of it.
Content as a service. 365 search, why isn't it? That sort of stuff. We've got core people there, but we need to get content. We can do it now. It just makes it a lot easier for us to deal with that sort of stuff. Okay, what the web devs do.
Right, so try to have to think about it's content as a service and how we consume that service. And what we
It sort of leads to a much longer life cycle as well. Because like you do it, like from my point of view, there are different life cycles. But we want the same data source. We can't get it at the moment because it's all tiny. We do the whole thing. If you can redo the web design block, you get the same CMS. That's the usefulness of that data for us. We can use it.
Cool. Anything else to add? Interesting. Yeah, because because yes, like it finally ends up in a 500 error, and that's then capturing that. So if you want references, yeah, there's the Umbraco on GitHub is the best place to go for the Umbraco headless stuff. Their documentation on umbraco.com is out of date, and yeah, a bit about display templates. Yeah, so thanks for coming, thanks for organizing, and thanks for keeping it going then. Yeah, and hopefully, yep, just spread the word if you found it interesting, and we'll have it again in 2 months' time, August, September,
Keep an eye out
October.
for the new Meetup content that's like this. It's due to go live any day now.
Okay, that's interesting.
And there's going to go and put his name into the.
Maybe.
It hasn't been that long. February last year.
This year it was there.
Mm.
So it's probably around March next year, or a year, but I think it takes just to get to the next location.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Andy. Say goodbye to everyone who's still sitting on the.
Nobody's there, I think. But it's going to be for our guys for later.